Alibaba founder Jack Ma, who also happens to be a CCP member, had once said that he would happily hand over all his businesses to the Chinese Communist Party if it so desires. Jackie Chan too had once said that he wanted to be a CCP member. This is what rich and popular people in China do: praise the CCP and plead allegiance to the Communist Party. But when it comes to their wealth, well, they don't trust it. Hi and welcome. You're watching TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host Isha. In this video, I will tell you why Chinese investors are stashing millions in Australia as they flee burning markets at home. Let's begin. Guess what rich people in China are doing? Slashing millions in Australia and fleeing burning markets at home. Yes, people in China are investing big in CCP's biggest enemy, Australia. 2021 was a terrible year for Chinese real estate. First, Evergrande ran into trouble and then the Chinese real estate collapsed like a pack of cards, with several real estate giants collapsing in a domino effect. But 2022 is going to be worse. Evergrande owes international creditors over $400 billion. Well, that's too much debt, and there is a bigger problem. The property developer has repeatedly failed to meet interest repayment deadlines. On Friday, Evergrande is expected to seek a fresh extension for interest repayments. This is likely to further fuel a broader Chinese real estate collapse, which means even greater pain for investors in the communist country. Meanwhile, Chinese real estate investors are moving to Australia in big numbers. Dubai IQI, which markets real estate to wealthy Asians, has revealed that it is expecting Chinese investors to take more interest in Australia as Chinese property markets continue to slump this year. Dubai IQI Managing Director Daniel Ho said that Chinese investors were particularly interested in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. Some of them are also evincing interest in Perth, the Gold Coast, and Canberra. Ho said, some Chinese developers are struggling in the slowing market, and some buyers think it's a good time to buy in Australia instead. He further added, Chinese are used to much faster price growth than we expect to see in 2022, and the weaker forecast for property in China is raising buyers' horizons and encouraging them to look overseas for real estate investment. After all, Chinese investors need some sort of outlet to invest their wealth. Chinese markets are burning and savings have got accumulated in the country. In fact, Ho said, Chinese who can afford overseas property have also accumulated savings during the pandemic. China's rich people have a history of dropping patriotic sentiment and parking their wealth abroad when it comes to saving their money from CCP's mismanagement. Recently, it was reported that rich Chinese people were escaping CCP's tyranny and moving to Australia after the country relaxed its immigration laws. After all, Australia has a lot of things that are nowhere to be found at home, including a stable political environment, a strong economy, and good education. Recently, tax authorities uncovered a China-based scheme that invested about 27 billion yen in Japanese real estate. According to Japanese publication Asahi, officials of the Tokyo Regional Taxation Bureau conducted a tax audit of a company in the capital's Taito ward that operated a photo studio aimed at foreign tourists. Tax officials found that for the 3 years until March 2019, 3 individuals living in China sent the equivalent of about 27 billion yen in cryptocurrency to the Tokyo company to have it converted into yen. The Tokyo company pocketed some of the yens as its commission. On its part, the CCP is quite angry about how Chinese wealth is flowing out of the country and helping Chinese enemies strengthen their own economies. Chinese authorities have even tried to crack down on offshore trading services to mainland China clients by online brokerages. The crackdown would end up restricting millions of real investors in mainland China from trading securities easily in foreign markets such as the US and Hong Kong. Yet, rich Chinese investors are finding newer ways of stashing their money abroad and escaping the CCP. The CCP and Chinese investors are thus left playing cat and mouse over overseas investments.